All right, so some people are still writing, that's okay. So inverse questions, you've got to always think about it. Have I been given that final answer? Therefore, I don't have to actually go and find the final answer. But I do need to think about how I would have found that answer. So for example, here it says a volume of 125 cubic centimeters. That's what we've been finding for the last couple of weeks. Okay, we've got to go, okay, how did we actually find that? So I would still think about how to actually draw out the picture if you don't get given a picture of it, because a picture can always get your mind working the right way. So for this question, if we go through our steps, find the length of the side of a metal cube. So cube means what? They're all the same length, and it's a 3D with squares, yeah? So I would just quickly sort of just sketch that out, just so I know. And this sort of question comes up all the time. It's usually cubes or like small spheres for these sort of questions, okay? So I've got a cube. I'm trying to find this length. So put in a pronumeral, go, okay, what am I actually trying to find? I'm trying to find the length of that. What other information, if I use my highlighter, because all of you are going to have a highlighter in your test next week, we're trying to find the length of a metal cube, which when melted down has a volume of 125 cubic centimeters. So I know the volume is 125 cubic centimeters. That's the information I got given in the story. I now don't need to look at the words. I can just look at the pictures, and most of you guys are better with the pictures than the words. So how do you find that volume? We need to think of an equation, just a one-step, one-line equation, which tells us how we find the volume of this cube. Like if it was 4 centimeters, how would we have found it? We would have said length times width times height. We would have found the area of the square, which would have been 4 times 4, and then we would have times it by the height, which was also 4. Yeah, so instead of 4 times 4 times 4, what are we going to write? Not yet, because we don't automatically know that. Some people do. But we would write x times x times x, okay, because the volume equals length times width times height. Okay, this is the base shape. This is the height of the prism. So therefore we know that with the letter we've used, our pronumeral, we can say volume equals x times x times x, which is the same as saying x cubed, okay? Now, do we know the volume? Yeah, so instead of V, we're going to put 125 equals x times x times x. 125 equals x cubed. Now, how do we get rid of that cubed so that we've just got x by itself? Now, that line there would get you marks, okay, knowing either of these two lines. So even if you get stuck here and go, I've got no idea, those lines would get it for you, okay? How do we get rid of that cubed there? Move it to the other side. How do we get rid of it if it was a squared? What would we do on the other side? Not divide. You'd find the square root of it, yeah? So cubed, what are we going to use? The cubed root. Now let's try and find that on our calculator. So on our calculators, sorry. Let's get out of here. All right, on our calculators, where do we find a cubed root sign? So you can either click on that little my favorite button, this one, the one which is red right now, and you can click in. So this button here, that one, and you can click in see where there's a little box, square root sign in the box. Okay, you can click in there and you can write 3. So I'll click there. For some reason my computer doesn't like that button. The other way, I think, is that you could use the blue control button and click on the, and click up here where there's, see how there's a little like N square root sign? Oh, try that one as well. Sorry, computer always seems to dislike that side. Let's try here. All right, so control and that button seems to work. It's probably easier. Control, and then see where the red button is there? The one which is like a to the power of button, yeah? And so we can put in, oh, did I just, sorry, calculator is not my favourite thing. Oh, that's not going to work either. All right, so cubed root means we put in a 3. And then we're saying 125. And so our answer is 5. So then we can say x equals 5. But then we still need to write worded question, worded answer. The side length is 5 centimetres. Be aware, it's not cubic centimetres. It's a length. It's just 5 centimetres. The volume was the cubic centimetres. And you could just check your answer. 5 times 5 times 5 does equal 125. And so therefore you're like, yep, I know my answer. I've got it right. I can walk away feeling really confident with that question. You do need to know how to use your calculator though. I'm just going to cut that for a second. To be able to do that. All right? Any questions? All right, the other way which you could have done that in your calculator is that you could have said, rather than doing the sort of algebraic working out yourself, is that you could actually go menu, algebra, solve, and then you can say 125 equals, 125 equals x to the power of 3, and we're solving for, what are we solving for? Comma x, and then got our answer that way. Okay, so that way you don't have to know that it's the cubed root part. So for these questions, as long as you get that first line of working out, you're fine. So I would actually recommend you use that solve function as long as you check that your answer works afterwards. Okay, because that's easy. It means if you mess up your algebra solving skills, you're still going to get your answer right. Okay, and if you have time at the end, check your answers using that if you've done your own way. Okay, any questions? All right, let's just try one more. The triangular base prism below has a total surface area of 168 square centimetres. Determine the height of the prism. So I've already drawn the picture for you, but there is some information missing which we might need to draw in. All right, so what extra information is in the words which isn't in the picture? TSA is 168. What else is in the question which we don't have in there? The height. So that's what we're trying to find. So that's this part here. That's what we're trying to find. Now, and this is the sort of question where most people go straight to doing the volume and they're like, this is easy. But this question isn't asking us about volume. It's asking us about surface area. So how would we find the surface area of this shape? Pardon? We know it, 168, but how would we get to that 168? We'd have to find the areas of what? A triangle, one triangle, two triangles. Two triangles and three rectangles. So let's think about this. So our total surface area is a triangle plus a triangle plus a rectangle plus a rectangle plus a rectangle. Right? So I need to put that all into one equation because we're going to solve. So we know our total surface area is 168. How do we find the area of the two triangles? Or at least one of the triangles? Half base times height. So, but we're going to do two of them. So we can say 2 times half. What's the base? 8 times the height, which is 3. That gives us the two triangles. Yeah? How do we find each of the rectangles? If you get stuck, draw it out. So one side's going to be 5, one side's going to be 3, and one side's going to be 8 for each of them. What's the other side going to be? One's going to be 5. One of the rectangles is going to have a side of length of 5. One of them's going to be 3 and one of them's going to be 8 because that's the sides of the triangle. What's that bit going to be? The height, okay? So it's going to be h. H is this side, h is this side, h is this side. So how do we write that into an equation? Yes. Oh, hang on. Sorry, not 3. It's 5. You're right. Thank you very much. Sorry, 5, 5, and 8. I just didn't draw it very well to actually look at it. 5, 5, and 8. So height, height, height. How do we actually work out how do we find the area of each of those rectangles? Length times width. So we've got 5 times h plus 5 times h plus 8 times h. If you can get to that point, then you're going to get marks. And once you've got that point, it's really easy to put into your calculator. Now I'm just going to simplify it down. 4 times 3, 24, plus 18h. It's probably easier to write, but you can just put this straight into your calculator if you wish to. Can everyone see how we got there? I'm only doing this one example, so if you're having trouble, tell me now. If you get stuck with surface area, draw out the shapes. All right, so if you did it by hand, you could then say take 24, so we end up with 144 equals 18h. 144 over 18 equals h. And you could find out what that is. So 8. However, this is going to be a question which is in your calculator section. So easier to actually just put it into your calculator. So we write plug this in. So 168, solve. 168 equals, and I'll just put in the whole thing, 2 times 0.5 times 8 times 3 plus 5h. Make sure you get that out of the brackets, plus 5h, plus 5h, plus 8h. And we're trying to find h. And your height equals 8. I'll turn it down a second, Ruby. Any questions on that? All right, you have 2 different lots of questions to do. One is in one chapter and one is in another. So it's the final part of chapter 9, I think it's at 9D. We haven't done 9D yet, have we? Exercise 9D. And I think it might be 8D as well, but I'll just double check. And then we're actually finished this topic.